You also wrote about an article on this wide receiving class and why this receivers class in the draft is good news for the Browns. Take us through that.
Well, when you look at the Browns receiving group right now, what they have, obviously at the top, you have Amari Cooper and Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think it's pretty established that's your 1 and 2 right now. The thing that I think with the Browns need a receiver, they need a guy who's going to stretch the field. They need a guy who's going to be able to test safeties deep, kind of, force them to respect the deep ball more, and also be a guy who can be underneath to get yards after the catch. And I know Anthony Schwartz was kind of drafted to do that. He really hasn't been able to because, he was raw when he came in the NFL, and he's had some injury concerns, which, do worry me about his longevity. But when you look at this receiver class, what's one thing a lot of these guys share? They're slot receivers who can absolutely fly. And I mean, it's just seems like one after the other kind of rolled off an assembly line where they're similar traits. And I'm looking kind of after the top, outside the top guys. Jackson Smith-Njigba from Ohio State is not going to be there. Quentin Johnson from TCU, not going to be there. Jordan Addison from USC, probably not going to be there at 42. So then who's left after that? Well, after that, you've got a ton of guys who are all very similar. I spotlighted a handful. Kayshon Boutte from LSU, Josh Downs from North Carolina, who our caller was just talking about earlier, Zay Flowers, Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee, Marvin Mims from Oklahoma, Parker Washington as well from Penn State. A name I forgot to mention in that article that I probably should have, Tyler Scott from Cincinnati is another name that seems like it's starting to pop of late. Got a chance to watch his highlights the other day. Very similar. And all these guys, they're 5'11" to 6 foot, maybe somewhere between 170 some pounds to about 200. I think Boutte is around 200. He might be the heaviest of the bunch, but they're all very similar. I mean, even in the scouting reports, there's a lot of similarities between all of these guys. So it just comes down to, I guess, how they test in the combine. And if you're the Browns, you're going to take 1 to 42. Which guy do you like the most? Which guy do you feel like is going to have the most kind of impact within this offense as far as, being that field stretching guy or that guy who's going to take a 2-yard gain and turn it into 20? Who you feel like's got the best chance to do that as quickly as possible?